So great to have you here on the Road Truck, Silvano. We're talking about, and I just love saying there's certain band names I just love saying out loud, and that would be this: Uncle Bard and the Dirty Bastard. Silvano, thanks for joining us. It's such a pleasure to have you. An exciting time for the band. What's your summer been like so far? We're going to get into the album, of course, that was released, but what else has been going on for you guys this summer? Anything exciting?
Well, actually, we got a show like 2 days ago around here in Tuscany, close to Tuscany. And next Friday, we're going to record our live show in France, and then we're going to release it as a live album. So it sounds like exciting times for our band. Yeah.
It is a very exciting times for your band as you guys have actually just released an album that sort of highlights the first four albums. It's called The Story So Far. It came out via Angel Air Records on August 7th. So, Silvano, why was it important to kind of release this album, The Story So Far? You had four, I believe, independent releases. Now you're signed to Angel Air Records. Was this sort of a way to introduce people to the band that maybe hadn't heard of you guys yet? What was kind of the story behind The Story So Far?
Yeah. First, I love your T-shirt.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Awesome.
anyway, anyway, yeah, of course, we released four album like fully DIY. We did like front covers, we did like videos, we recorded all by ourselves. And then the guys at Angel Music, they came to a show and they liked the music, so they said, why don't we release something together? And that's the first chance for us to hit the word, you know, because it's for the first time we have an album which is worldwide released. We're reaching you in the US, which is a really great thing. We came 3 years ago to the US playing in Ohio, but it was just because we got straight in contact with the festival and they wanted us. But now it's a game changer having a worldwide release.
It is, and this really highlights what the band's done for people that haven't yet had a chance to see you guys. Now, I'm sure you get asked this in a lot of interviews, but I mean, you guys are all Italian, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing Irish music. Is this common? Is this something that okay, like in Italy, this music's really popular, so there's a lot of people that play this? Or is this kind of like, no, you guys like cornered the market, you guys picked this up and you're the only ones that do this? How'd this happen?
Well, yeah, it's not common to be
Okay.
Italian for Irish music. Yeah, it's not. Well, actually, in our area, which is over Milan, between
Mhm.
Milan and Switzerland, there is a kind of, I don't know why or how and how it started, but there's a kind of culture about like Celtic music, Irish music. So we got a big dancing Irish school, and then we had a kind of big festival. So we kind of grew up with that sound in our ears. I mean, it's weird for Italian people, but it is what it is. And we all come from like rock bands, punk bands, and then at some point we packed up together to form this new band. And we decided, why don't we try Irish music since we like it since ever? And there we go. And so we made a living out of that.
I love that. I love the music. Of course, here in America, over the last 20 years, it's become popularized by bands like Dropkick Murphys and Flogging Molly, which is crazy because Dave King from Flogging Molly used to be in one of my favorite, like underrated 80s like metal bands, which is crazy. So Dave King now goes on to do Flogging Molly, and he was in a band called Fastway. I don't know if you ever remember them or saw the movie Trick or Treat from
I
them.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
No.
that. So it looks like a lot of this music has background in other styles of music. And so when you came to America, what was that like? Do you feel like, because I feel like America's kind of embraced this music quite a bit. What was your experience like here in America?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was first of all a great honor since we came straight into the one of the biggest Irish festival in the US. So it was like we're still like wondering how we made it. But anyway, we were at some point even terrified because when you have to deal with people which is English speaking and you have to sing in English and we're Italian, we're like, oh my God, we're gonna be terrible. But then they really, it looks like they're really enjoying our music. And then now every time we post something on Facebook, there's someone that below writes like, hey, come back to the US. So it must be decent at least. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it absolutely is. And I'm so glad that I've been exposed to this, and I'm glad that the band is getting the
Uh,
recognition. This is great. So when you guys play live, whether it be in Europe or wherever you play at festivals, you played with bands like Floggy Molly, who we talked about, Dropkick Murphys. You played on the same stage as these bands, and you played with like hard rock bands like Volbeat. What is that like? The dynamic playing with bands like Dropkicks or playing with a band like Volbeat when that is just like straight up, they're a Danish hard rock band. What's that like? What are the crowds as receptive to you when you're playing with more hard rock bands? I lost you for a second. Got you back though. We were talking about playing the festivals with some
Uh,
hard rock bands like Volbeat and things like that. How that's received.
yeah, I mean, we're always in some kind of like party stage, So it's like we're doing the after show music, and everybody is like drunk enough to enjoy our our music. But then when we play with Dropkick Murphys or Froggy Molly, uh, I mean, the first time we've been playing together, they just went on the side stage just to see us playing, because probably it's something exotic to see an Italian band playing Irish music. But then they were very happy to see what we do, and then they came out like cheering, drinking together. I mean, really, I can tell you, Dave King is like your next door guy. And
Yeah.
like comes up like, "Do you want a beer?" Have it in our backstage, like on the very first show we did together. So I mean, they're really, really great guy. Dropkick Murphys as well.
Well, I like music that puts you kind of in a place or a state of mind, and I think no kind of music does that quite like Celtic music. When I hear it, when I hear you guys, I think about just like being in a pub in Ireland, a dirty just pub where there's people wall to wall with glasses in the air and beers flying. It's like, and I love that about your music. And is that like kind of an allure to you guys? Is that something that you think about, just the visuals and this style of music that's very visual? And even thinking back like in the movie Titanic, where they have that Celtic part where everybody's dancing, and it's just there's something very joyous about this style of music that like seems to like bring people together.
Yeah, but I tell you, we don't lie when we do that. I mean, we
Right.
we used to go to the pub all the time. We used to drink with our friends all the time. So we just put that thing in music, and I mean, it sounded Irish because we had that mood, but because we have a banjo in the band and a flute, but that's what we live in like daily. I don't know. I mean, we have Irish pub in Italy. I can tell you that. So,
How hard was it to find the right players and the right people to fit into this? You talked about how it's not all that common in Italy. How did you find the right people for this band?
well, actually, I'm one of the three founders.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when we started, I mean, our banjo player, it was a guitar player in a thrash metal band. And
Wow.
so it just wanted to step on that thing. He's playing both now. And he always say, well, it helps a lot being fast with the guitar, so I can even do the same way of picking with the banjo. You know, it's kind of, and then most of us, I mean, we're friends. Mostly we were friends, and then we decided we were all musicians, all friends. We said, all right, now we try to do Irish music, since we like it, since we've been traveling in Ireland a lot. And then the only guy we picked out of the bunch is the flute player, which live in our anyway in our area, but is one of the uh it's a little bit older than us, but is one of the guys, uh as a I don't know, one of the good ones on playing Irish music in the
Right.
area. So we went there and we said, do you have any students for us, because we want to introduce flute or stuff? And he said, students, no, but I can join. So
Perfect. Well, that's tremendous. So, the album, of course, once again, is The Story So Far, and it is a collection of songs from some of the most popular songs from the first four critically acclaimed albums from the band Uncle Bart and the Dirty Bastards. So, what's next? I mean, I guess that's easy for a fan to say, well, what do you got next? You just released this album. So obviously signing with Angel Air Records, that's a huge deal for you. So after you've released this, is this something like where you feel like you're going to begin work on a new studio album, or kind of what's next for you guys?
yeah, first at the end of the year we're going to release this live album we're going to record.
That's right. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Um, with it's going to be, I think it's going to be a set list which is quite different from story so far. So you have a full vision on our music and how it's alive. And then we're probably gonna start recording a new album. We have some bunch of songs in you know on the table. We are trying to put the pieces together and try. We just need to listen to all we recorded.
Right.
Even across the 2 years of lockdown or of COVID. And then we're gonna pick the pieces together, and I don't know, in 1 year we're going to release a new album, hopefully. I have no idea.
Wow. Okay. So COVID, how hard was that for the band? I mean, it was hard for everybody. We know that. For you guys specifically, a band that's trying to get out there, get your name out there, and live shows is so important. And then just it's over. Like, how difficult was that for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, like everybody, we were looking to the future, like to a very promising future. We had uh shows in US, we had some festival, we had some very good festival
Wow.
to do, like with Social Distortion, with Dropkick Murphys, and then bam, COVID for 2 years. But now I think we're coming back pretty good. So we're not afraid.
I like that. Definitely not, my friend. Well, I want to kind of get to our final four drum roll, Silvano, which is kind of four quick questions, and you give us whatever comes to mind. These will be fun. Silvano, I'm so interested in your upbringing and just kind of your musical background. So, what was the first concert you ever remember attending?
I think it was Metallica '95.
Really? On
Yeah,
the Load tour?
Low tour. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that was interesting. Who did? Gosh, off the top of my head, I thought but they played like here in the States, Lollapalooza with maybe Alice in Chains and some bands. Do you know who opened that? Do you remember who opened that show?
I don't remember the openers. I was maybe too young. Uh,
Oh yeah, I get it. You're probably like, so yeah, I was just trying to piece that because that's a really good one. That's a really good first show. How old were you?
42.
How old were you? Oh, so like, okay, so you're like my age, just about. I'm just a little. I'm still not quite to 40 yet. I'm working on it though. Trust me.
Uh,
I'll get there. What is okay? Question two. What is the first album that you remember like buying with your own money?
um, I can tell you three albums. Uh, which one is Number of the Beast from Iron Maiden,
That's a
which was very old. Then I got Dookie from Green Day, like the day it came out, you know. And then I got What's the Story, Morning Glory from the Oasis. And then I
yes.
saw it the day on the day. I've been listening half of the song and I was like, no, it's not my thing. And then I sold it to a friend like same day.
Oh, that's great. That's a great, nice little eclectic mix there. Do you have a specific song or a song from the band that when you perform live that just you always look forward to playing it? It always gets the best reception. Like I always think like Rambling Boys would be one, or Up the Bastards. Is that kind of a calling card song for the band that you love to play live?
Uh, well, I tell you one fast song and one slow song.
Yeah, there you go.
One is Flat Above My Pub because we do this kind of
Yeah,
like Wall of Death, something
yeah,
like that. I mean, Wall of Love. Call
yeah.
it.
There you go. That's much nicer. Yeah,
Yeah. And then I really love to play Man of the Storm, which is very
great.
dramatic and epic.
Yeah, that's great. That can't wait to hopefully get you guys back in America sometime. So obviously I'm on the fly here making up a question because you mentioned my shirt here, Roddy Piper, of course, not actually from Scotland as portrayed in the
Yeah.
WWF, but do you have a favorite wrestler growing up? Who was your favorite wrestler?
Back in the days, that was Ultimate Warrior.
I love it. I love Ultimate Warrior. So this is crazy. I just like started collecting all my old wrestling figures. So we kind of come
All
from the
right.
same time period. You probably remember like the WWF had the Hasbro figures that were like the 4-inch tall. So I just started getting all those back, and I just got the Ultimate Warrior back on that. So love the Ultimate Warrior.
You know what? Uh, you know what? I think they've been quite rude with Ultimate Warrior because they made this figure that it was you have to clip it, and it was jumping, which, I mean, it was the coolest wrestler in history, and you did that jumping thing.
That's
It's very
hilarious.
bad.
You mentioned that. That's funny you mentioned that, because
But yeah,
there's a podcast about wrestling figures that talks about that, that says like, why did they give Warrior the jump? Because like his feet were together, and it's like he's like needs to be able to just slam someone. But then they released a series 2 and a series 3 that he was able to do that. So yes, you're very right about that. We definitely are cut from the same cloth. So it's crazy because like growing up in America, you never think like how big wrestling even was, like, you know, in the 80s and 90s. But I guess in Europe, SummerSlam '92 was in England, and I don't know how big it was in Italy, but obviously enough for it to make an impression on you. So that's really cool.
yeah, I can tell you, for kids of my age,
Yeah.
the 80s era, the one
Yep.
with Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, was huge, and then the Rey Mysterio times,
Right. Right.
uh, early 2000, something like that.
Yeah. It's not
But
quite
yeah,
the
big
same
fan.
anymore. It's not quite the
Uh,
same anymore.
I know,
uh,
but
well,
I'm a big fan.
Me too. We're from the exact same era, Silvano. So it's been such a pleasure, man. I want to make sure everybody can goes to the website. It's ubdirtybastards.com. I got that right. ubdirtybastards.com. Uncle Bart and the Dirty Bastards. You can get the new album, which is just a great compilation. It's a great album if you want to get started on the band, to learn all the great songs, the story so far. It's out via Angel Air Records. Silvano, it's been a pleasure, man. Feel like we're connected. So when you get back to America, I will get out there and find you. We'll hang out and have a beer, my friend.
Great, thank you. Let's do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye.